everybody, and welcome to Tales of the Meta Worlds Week episode. I am super excited. This weekend is Worlds. It's going to be a ton of good Lorcana to watch. As you may notice, it is just me this week. Justin Shaft is actually in Florida helping all of his WCC teammates boot camp, get ready for Worlds. I know he went to Disney and had a little bit of fun, but he was working hard, helping them get ready for all the different formats that we are going to be seeing this weekend. Maybe when he gets back next week, we can pick his brain, get some behind-the-scenes stuff, maybe some funny stories, anything that happened kind of while they were boot camping, while they were prepping, while they were getting ready. That's going to be really exciting. But in this week's episode, we are going to talk about everything Worlds. So we're going to talk about both formats, the Super Sealed and the Triple Deck format. I'm going to share some decks that I want to see as a casual player. I'm going to throw out some random decks. I just went on Dreamborn, found all the decks that I thought would just be wild and crazy in a format like this. We're going to talk about strategies. What I think, is banning Steel the right move? Is that the only move? Do you ban people's best decks? Do you have a strategy going in where you know what color you're going to ban? Do you build your 3 decks around it? Do you even worry about the best of 5 at the end, right? Because the finals is a best of 5 where you have to win with all 3 of your decks. So if you just have one that you're not playing the whole time, can it succeed at that point? And then we are also going to just talk about some players, right? We're going to talk about some players to watch, who we think is going to do really well. I am going to have a prediction on who I think is going to win, so you'll have to stay around to the end. That'll be the last thing I say is who I think is going to win. And so I might have 2 picks, to be honest with you, so we'll see at the end. But let's get started. Let's get right into it. First, we are going to talk about the Super Sealed. So we're going to start with what they're going to start with, which is day 1. Both formats are actually on day 1. So day 1 is both the Super Sealed format and the Triple Deck format. We do have 3 matches of the Super Sealed, so let's go ahead and get into that. Oh, wait a second. See, Shaft's not here, so I already had puppies up, but we are going to talk about the Super Sealed format first before we get into puppies, but we will talk puppies. I don't know what I'll do if a pro player actually brings in puppies to Worlds. I'm going to have to do something special for them. I don't want to say that I will gift them my 99 foils, but it's close to that. It's close to that extreme. I don't know what I'm going to do, but if someone does come out and play puppies as one of their decks, I will be through the moon ecstatic. Over the moon? Through the moon? Over the moon. Wherever it is. Either one of those. So we are going to start the weekend with 3 rounds of Super Sealed. So before we just go right into what Super Sealed is, I do want to say, so there's 2. There's the Super Sealed, and then there's the Triple Deck. You need 5 wins to make day 2. And so there are, I think, a total of 7 rounds. So we have 3 of the Super Sealed, and then 4, 5, 6, and 7 are going to be the Triple Deck. So you have 4 Triple Deck rounds and 3 Super Sealed rounds. And I think between the 7, 5 wins get you to day 2. So that's kind of the threshold. So if you win 3 Super Sealed, you only have to win 2 of your 4 Triple Deck. And vice versa, if you don't win any of your Super Sealed, you can't make day 2. So you need to win at least one of the Super Sealed. So let's dive deep into what this Super Sealed actually is. So I know every set, me personally, one of the things I love to do, and I'm going to shout out a couple shops. So Aegis in Houston and Omega in Houston, they both run these formats, and it is a booster box sealed tournament. So what you do is you get a booster box, open it up, it's release day, you get to see all the new cards, and then you play with a 40-card deck from that one booster box. So that's called a sealed format, where you get sealed product and then you build the deck with that product. Now, a lot of people do it with like 6 packs, and so that's why this is called Super Sealed, because this is actually with 16 packs. 4 from Shimmering Skies, 4 from Azurite Sea, 4 from Arcasia's Island, and 4 from the new Reign of Jafar. So we got those 4 sets. What we're going to do is they're going to open 4 packs from each of those sets. They're going to have an hour to construct a 3-ink color 50-card deck. So you get to pick 3 of the 6 colors, and you have to use only cards from those colors, those inks. And then you can build a 50-card deck. And I believe you can go over 50. I don't know if it says in here if you actually can go over 50. This just says 50 card sealed deck, so I wonder if there is that actual 50 card restriction, or if you can go 51, 52, 53. And then one of the cool things about this kind of form, then you do the best of 3, right? And so you play your best of 3. Now, what they've introduced in the Super Sealed, and as someone newer to TCGs, I had no idea what this was. I've heard people talk about them, but I've just never known what they really were, was sideboards. So they've introduced the sideboard into this World format to where, let's say that you have, you cut a couple cards and you're like, this is situational. I don't know if I'm going to need this, but I'm going to cut it because I don't really want to have it, right? You can put it in your sideboard. And so I think every card from those inks goes into your sideboard. And in between matches, you can switch them out, right? Or in between games, sorry, not matches. So in between games, so like from game 1 to game 2, you can actually switch your deck up to try to optimize it a little bit. Maybe you saw that they got a Maui Shark, and so you're like, well, I need this as an answer to Maui Shark. Or you see a card, you're like, man, the strategy wasn't really what I thought. I'm going to sub this card out, right? Now, I will say that I think this last rule is kind of silly, but it makes sense, I guess, is that you have to switch back to your initially submitted deck after each round before the start of the next match. So I think, if I'm reading that correctly, that means that game 1 of every match, you have to play the same deck. Like, you cannot use your sideboard in game 1. Now, someone can correct me if that's wrong, but that's what I'm reading from it. And so that's kind of a cool thing, that your first 50 cards, you really kind of have to get right, and then you can sideboard after that. Now, I think this one, the interesting thing to me about this format is the practice leading up to it. Because what practice is there other than just ripping packs, right? I mean, in 16 packs, I mean, that's a lot of packs to rip, right? But I think that and this is where my casual player, I'm not playing too many sealed events, although I've done fairly well at all of the sealed events that I've done, is what strategy do you really go in here? Do you go with not as many lower ink cost cards? Do you go with a low amount of uninkables? Do you care about uninkables? Do you try to get some items in there? There's some synergies that you're going to miss. If a card only has 1 or 2 synergistic cards, do you put that in? Or do you kind of hold off, right? Do you try to make a sort of tribal kind of synergistic deck, or do you just go with what's powerful, right? Because I think one of the things with a sealed format is there's just not as much of everything, right? So there's not as much draw power. There's not as much passive damage. There's not as much removal. There's just not as much of a whole lot of stuff. So some cards will stick longer. And so all of those cards that we don't use because you have to exert them, you have to wait a turn for them to dry, suddenly become a lot more powerful in a format where there's not as much removal, right? So I'm gonna be really interested to see. I'm one of the most interesting things for me that I want to see is, do people have kind of a predetermined set of ink colors that they're thinking, right? So when we're gonna talk about triple deck, and we're talking about one of the strategies is just ban steel. So is steel gonna be in almost everyone's super sealed format, right? In super sealed deck, is steel that strong? Is amethyst is one of the only ways to draw cards, really, right? Like, that's I think emerald has some, but amethyst has all of the draw power. So like, are they gonna be are people gonna pick amethyst too? And then there's always that caveat of, okay, what if you get one card that's really good and it's dual ink? Does that mean that you have to go with both of those ink colors? Can you just kind of not use, like, do you just forget that card? Like, how high up on on your tier list does a card have to be before you kind of put your whole strategy around it? And I think that's why 60 minutes is going to be cool for that for them, because that does give them enough time to kind of get through it and go through all the cards, have a couple of different ideas, and kind of trial and error it, instead of just having to piece it together quickly. They can kind of think about it a little bit. This format is going to be one where I am just excited to see some of these great minds that we've seen build decks that we've seen do really well. I'm really interested to see how they do this, because I think this format is going to stick around. I think at least it's going to be in some side events. It's going to be something that does stick around. And so I'm interested to see kind of what these high-level analytical, your Zans, your Bivens, your Wonderland, your Ed Shoes, all these guys that are super, super smart, that they just think about the game differently than I do. They think about it on whole higher levels. How they're gonna do this super sealed format? What's gonna be their like priorities? Are they all gonna have the same ink colors? Like, is it card dependent? Is there a strategy going in? And then I want to ask someone later, because I don't know if I don't think they tell me now, but do you have kind of a number in your head of, I want this many 1-drops, this many 2-drops, this many 3-drops, this many 4+, whatever it is, right? I need to be under this many uninkables, right? So for me, if we're talking about a 60 card deck, like 15 uninkables, once I get above that, I'm kind of feeling like I'm getting starved with ink. Like, I got to play around my uninkables or my inkables. And so is there a number with 50? I mean, if we're just talking about what mathematically, a fourth of that is what, 2.5? So we're talking 12. Like, is 12 uninkables in a 50 card deck? Like, that's kind of the same ratio. 12 to 13 is kind of the same ratio as your 60 card deck. Is that where they're going to try to stick? Are they going to try to do lower because there's not as much draw? They might not be as powerful, whatever it is. So I'm really excited to see some of these guys dive deep into that. We do get to see 3 rounds of that. I am going to go over the schedule, and I'll also pull up the schedule at the end so that we can kind of see, or y'all can kind of see, when all these things are going to be casted. I think we got a really good casting team that is going to be streaming the event, and it should be on YouTube, Twitch, all the channels, and it's going to be a really good time. I'll be probably in the chats, so if we see any puppies, just shout me out, because I'm going to be going crazy if we see puppies. So, Super Sealed. A lot of fun. I'm super excited for it. I've been playing it on the site that must not be named almost every day, building decks, looking at them. I've had a lot of fun with it. But up next, we are going to talk about the triple deck format, because I think that one is another one that a lot of people are looking forward to. The triple deck format is something that we saw at the World Class Cards event a couple weeks ago. I was skeptical going in, to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be kind of clunky. I thought it was going to be not as exciting for viewers. I thought that we were going to see this kind of slow down the game a little bit. And it makes it kind of a little bit less accessible for your casual players, because you have to have almost all the cards to kind of make these decks work. But after seeing it play out, seeing all the versatility that it provided, I absolutely loved it. I think that there's so much strategy involved. You get to see your opponent's deck. There's no secrets. So this is rounds 4 through 7. So 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 4 rounds. And everyone has to bring 3 decks. You only get to use an ink color once, and it's open deck list, like I said. So what happens at the beginning is you have 5 minutes to look at your player's deck list, your opponent's deck list. Now, we talked about it, Chris, last week. I want to see if these guys have it laminated, if they have it on construction paper, what they have. Now, I do know that they have to submit their deck lists on Thursday. So by the time this is released, they'll already have all their deck lists out. So I wonder if people are going to start talking about them or not, because it is going to be open. But I haven't seen. Everyone's keeping it pretty close to the vest. No one's really saying what they're going to play. And so I'm interested to see if there's any rogue combos that we're going to see. So each player has 5 minutes to review their opponent's deck lists, and then they choose one to put on the sideline, to put on the bench, is what they're calling it. So what happens is it's the best of 3. So you have 2 decks that you play and 1 that's benched. In your 2 decks, you get to pick which one you want to play a game, and you have to win one game with each of your decks. So if you win game 1 with 1 deck, that means you have to play your other deck for the next 2 games. Or just 1 game if you win, right? Now, it's interesting, because if you lose your first game, then you get to decide if you want to play that deck again or play your other deck, right? So you get to kind of pick and choose. That's why I think when we saw the WCC, we saw a whole bunch of blurples. You saw your blue-greens, all these ramp ones that kind of didn't mind going second. But I think there's some people that are going to bring one of those decks that is just going to be fairly strong on the draw and can do well. But there are going to be other people that just bring a couple of hyper aggro decks, right? I think that there will be a couple fairly aggressive decks. I don't know who's going to bring them, but I want to see some people bring something that's like, this is a 90% win rate on the play and a 10% win rate on the draw. I want to see someone bring a deck like that. That's just like, if I don't get to go first, this deck's going to lose, and then play around that in their positioning, right? Talk about a little bit about the formats. I want to dive into what decks I want to see. So I already kind of teased it. Y'all already know. Shaft's not here, so we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more in depth. I want to see an aggro puppy. I think Sapphire and Amber have a real good chance to just win on the play and be super aggressive. The ward is really good. It's just a whole bunch of questing. I want to see some puppies. If we see some puppies, I'm going to be going crazy as usual. But I want to see, I had to start with puppies, right? And so then this, if someone plays it, I'm going to be so excited. I don't know if anybody's going to play it. Thunderbolt is really strong just in general. I mean, a 3/7 bodyguard that you can shift 3. But I don't know if anybody would go that route. I think Shaft always jokes with me and whatever. He's smart. But that the best cards in the puppy decks are not puppies. Which, I mean, could be, there's some good non-puppy cards. But the puppies help. So I'll be honest, I was just cruising down Dreamborn. So I'm going to throw out some decks that I did not create. I just found them. And the first one I want to talk about, there's a 0% chance anybody would ever take this. However, I saw it and it really threw me for a loop. It had over 500,000 views on Dreamborn, which is just insane. I don't know. That's so many views. So I'm going to pull it up. I don't even think it's from the set, but it's shout out to this man named Austin, because he has made a deck that has 0 characters, and it's just called Unquestable. I don't think it has any win conditions. I don't know how you could win with it. Please tell me if you know how to win. I don't know what Just in Time is doing in there. I don't know. This deck is wild. But I wanted to pull it up, because if we're going to throw out just rogue decks, I mean, a yellow-purple deck, a lot of people could actually play that. I mean, if you're going to be talking about a deck that's just good on the play, you're kind of hyper aggro, amber, amethyst, yellow, purple, just A to B, just kind of, I mean, in the beginning days it was play Lilo, play bodyguard Simba, right? That was like one of the best decks when we first started. But I think someone will play yellow, purple. I don't know for sure, but I think someone will, and I'm excited for that, because it hasn't really been in the meta that much. But I think after WCC, there were a couple color combinations that really stuck out. And one of them was Amber Ruby. So I'm an OG puppy player, but my other second deck would probably be a Mufasa deck. I just loved that Amber Mufasa forever. And I think that in the current meta that we're in, if you can ban Steel, this deck gets really good. If you can't get rid of Gaston after turn 3, this deck just goes off to the races. It's got Tremaines, Medusas, Shift Mulan, and then if you get get enough ink, then you're talking Maleficent Dragons, you're talking Big Sisus. So this is just really good. It has Rapunzel for the draw power, and then Goofy. Goofy's a good addition in this. A lot of people have also been playing the 3-drop Prince John, which I really like. It's a 5/5. It gets damage whenever your opponent plays a character, but it's only 3 cost, and it's a 5/5, which is wild. So a lot of people are throwing that back in and doing like a Flynn kind of deck. Now, this one is fun. This is exciting, but this is not anything kind of new. There have been Red Fossa decks that have done well. Just about every tournament, there's at least one that kind of does decent. And so I don't think that this is really as rogue as I really want to be on this video. So we're going to go into another Ruby Amber deck that did see a little bit of play. Not this one specifically, but one like this. And that's going to be a racer deck, right? So here's a King Queen racer, which I thought was fun. By Neos. Shout out Neos. I didn't shout out. Let me get... I think it was Matthew. It was Matthew on Red Fossa. That one topped at some event. So he did really well. I think it was maybe CCS. But this racer deck. This racer is something that I really like. So the card that really, really stuck out to me on this racer deck was the King Candy. So it's been a good addition. I mean, I think it's at 7. It's whenever one of your racer characters is banished, each opponent chooses and banishes one of their characters. So it's essentially kind of like a Lady Tremaine when one of your racers is banished. And so if you can get a couple racers on the board, you can get this King Candy to stick at all. It is other racers, so when he dies, a ban is banished, nothing happens. But if you got two of them on there, and you kill and banish one of your opponent banishes one of the other ones. Or one of the cool things about this is if you can use this with Candy Shift, it's just whenever one of your other racers is banished, it's not on your opponent's turn. It's not just on your turn. It's not when they're banished in a challenge. It's whenever they're banished. So if you play one and have a racer out there and play Candy Shift and give them +5, or you can attack someone with one of your racers and kind of banish them themselves, like do a little challenge where they banish something and get banished themselves. You can turn that into a 2-for-1. So I think this is really good with the other racers, and I think when we're talking about decks that just kind of go A to B really quickly, this one does have a chance. I think that there could be a couple more aggressive options that do quest for 2 that they could throw in. But other than that, I do want to see a racer deck. So if we're talking, let's say racer deck, what else do we want to see? I want to see, it's not that time of year, but I want to see a Christmas deck. I want to see at least one. I mean, we got to see one somewhere, right? I think that this is a good option. I don't know if we'll see it. I think, I don't know. I think Emerald is really not this. If we're going to talk about what card or what combinations Emerald pairs up well with, Ruby's kind of lower on the list. I mean, Steel is number 1. I think a lot of people, Steel and Amethyst are kind of number 1. I think a lot of people kind of also like it with Amber right now. You have your Under the Sea, which is kind of an Emerald B prep, which was nice. But I think this has a lot of potential in this meta. And I think that there's a card in here that I really, really like. It's the Prince Philip. Let me pull it up. Prince Philip. That when you play him, you banish all opposing damage characters, which I think, and it's a shift and it's evasive and it quests for 3. So it does cost 9, which is a ton. But it is inkable. So I hope that this card can make it out. I think if we're talking about, there's 2 cards that if I could just wave a magic wand and have see in this format in the triple deck, be this one, the Prince Philip, and then I'll show you the other one. We kind of saw it at WCC in one deck list, but it's the Giant Mickey. So we'll talk about that in a second. But this Prince Philip, especially with this kind of damage deck, I think can do really well with the Queen that puts damage on a character when they're played. I really like that. And it's all opposing damage characters, so not yours, just the opponent's. And then something cool about Prince Philip that I really like is that the shift target is warded. I think it's a 3/2 with ward and a quest for 2. So it's kind of a decent card by itself that you can just get out there. It should stick for a while. It should be hard for someone to remove it. We don't have as many challenge ready characters cards that really make it, that are really in play. So I think that one really has some real potential. And so if we're going to talk about red-green, let's talk about another Emerald deck that I want to see. And that's going to be Lorganes' Dino Blast. I think this, if you're talking about the New Orleans song, the 6-drop, the Baymax shift, the hero shift. I mean, I think there's a lot of potential for this. So I would love to see someone try it at a format like this. I don't know. I've seen some other one of this color combo that have items in it, which would be fun too. This one's just got a lot of big characters that just do good things, right? Like John Silver, Genie, you're talking Lady Tremaine, Rhea can ready her own character to quest again. There's just so many good options when it comes to this deck that I want to see this. This will be a fun one to see. So Lorganes, let's see if you can Dino Blast. Let's see what we see in Worlds with this one. And then another deck that I don't know if we'll see it, but we gotta give it a little bit of props. We gotta shout out one of the most creative deck builders on the internet, I think. He always comes up with fun builds. He's always playing them well, and he's always playing them on live stream. So you can go check him out if you want. But we are going to check out an Earl Meister deck build. The Madrigal Musical Toolbox. So we talked about yellow purple earlier. I showed you one that was just absolute insanity. This one, much more reasonable. I think this one much more doable. I think the Madrigal's got a whole bunch of buffs in set 8. And so seeing them kind of build a deck around it would be really cool. I think you kind of get a little bit aggressive early, but this can also hold its own a little bit later in the game. It's not as one trick as the just aggressive yellow purple. So I'd be interested to see. It'd be fun if Earl Meister was go. I'd be interested to see what Earl Meister has he talked about what his combos would be. I feel like he would go crazy and do something wild. So Earl Meister, if you see this, I want to know what your choices would be for a triple deck format. That'd be fun. We should actually try. We should play a triple deck format. That'd be so much fun. Or tag Earl Meister in this. Let's see if we can get him. See if we can play. We can have some fun streaming. I'm dabbling a little bit on YouTube and Twitch with the stream. So yeah, maybe we can play with him one day. That'd be fun. Okay, so back to decks. There's one more I want to show you that had a little bit of popularity towards the end of a couple of sets ago. No one's brought it back, and I wonder if someone is going to try to do it. I doubt it because they are two of the strongest colors. Are they the strongest? But Hero Blue Steel. So there has been this whole just ban steel strategy. And then there's this, everyone's like, my safe one's my ramp one. So putting them both together, I think, might be a little iffy, depending on what your other decks are. But this would be so cool to see a hero deck. You could see the giant Mickey, which I want to see. The 10-drop. This one's got the play for free Mickey, so you can play the big one for free. But this would just be such a cool deck to see, right? I've never been able to play A Whole New World effectively, so if someone could teach me how to play A Whole New World, I might play this deck. But other than that, if it has A Whole New World, I'm probably not playing it. But I love the heroes. There's just so many of them, right? I actually just started playing the new Ana that you get +1 if there's a hero, because I noticed that there's just a ton of heroes. Like, there are a lot of them. And so being able to buff her, I decided she was worth it. But this one just has a whole bunch of heroes with the fill, and that is going to be a lot of fun. So those are the decks I want to see. If there's any decks that y'all want to see, if there's any other possibility color combos that y'all just want to see out there, let me know. I think this weekend is going to be so much fun. Let me pull up the stream schedule, and it's going to be Saturday and Sunday. It's going to start at 8 a.m. Eastern time, and that's going to be when the stream starts. And the first match won't actually start till 9. So 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific, we will start the first round of Super Sealed. And then there'll be a lunch break, and the first actual match of Triple Deck will start at 1:30. And then that'll be it for day 1, right? And then day 2... So that'll be 7 rounds, right? So 7 rounds day 1, 3 before lunch of the Super Sealed, 4 after lunch of the Triple Deck. That's going to be so much fun. And then day 2. So this will be Sunday. We are going to start the single elimination Triple Deck format at 9 a.m. So there will be an hour leading up to it. They'll be talking and having a lot of fun. 9 a.m. is when we start this single elimination bracket, and that is going to be so much fun. I'm so excited for that. And then the grand finals should begin around 4, depending on, obviously how long each one goes. The grand finals is going to be so awesome. It's going to be potentially 5 matches, or 5 rounds, 5 rounds. And we are going to crown our first ever Disney Lorcana World Champion. It's going to be so exciting. Now, who do we want to see do well? I want to see everyone do well, but who do we think? Let's see. I don't know. I think there's a lot of guys that are going to do well. I think the Super Sealed format doesn't throw in a big of a wrinkle. I think that's just going to make some of these guys, I think everyone's going to do well with that one. The triple deck, I also think it's just there's going to be a lot of thought process going into it on the triple deck. I'm still curious if your DKPs, are people going to ban red blue from him? Or are they just going to say maybe he didn't practice it as much and I'm going to ban something else, right? Are we going to see people that only ban steel, right? I mean, against people like Zan, who is, I mean, Emerald Steel, he just made it great, right? Are you just going to ban steel against him? Are you going to ban his Emerald Steel if he even plays it? And then you've got guys like Ed. I mean, does anybody want to play Ed when he's playing Ruby Amethyst? On the play, on the draw, does it really matter? So do you ban that if he's playing that? Do you go player specific, or do you go to your own strategy, right? So like, did I build a deck that beats Ruby Amethyst? So I'm just gonna let Ed play it, right? Now, even though he's one of the smartest guys at the tournament, is that going to go against my strategy, right? Like, I came in prepped for that. So I'm interested to see. I think there's also been some, ban Diablo, ban Brawl, ban Ramp, ban Steel. Like, do you just ban one of those things and say, okay, I built all my other decks around it, let's go? Or do you kind of go more match specific? So here we go. We are at the end of the video, and I'm going to throw out my prediction. I think that the world's champion, the first ever Lorcana World Champion, will be Kurt Spice. I'm excited. I think he's going to do really well. I think he's been practicing really hard. He played that Rhino deck a couple of weeks ago and did really well. I think that he's kind of in his form right now. I'm excited to see. I think Kurt is going to do really, really well. And he's just a good guy. So I think if we're gonna root for someone, I love DKP, so I'm gonna root for him too. But I do think Kurt is going to do really, really well. So that's my prediction. Predict below, who do you think is gonna win? I think a whole bunch of guys are gonna do really well. We're gonna have a whole bunch of recognizable faces on day 2. Good luck to all the world's competitors. I will be in the chat rooting you guys on, and I hope that we have a awesome, awesome, awesome first ever World Lorcana Championship. Thanks for watching, and we will catch y'all next week. See you guys.